When you start learning Tai Chi, one of the first things you are told about your posture is that the head should be held upright as if suspended by a thread, or the energy at the top of the head is light and sensitive, allowing the spirit of vitality to reach the head top. Or imagine that there is a leaf balanced on top of your head, or a feather, or an 80-pound iron hat. Many of these, there are many different ways of describing how you can coerce yourself into having proper posture. So the idea is essentially to avoid what I call Sudoku neck. Sudoku neck is when you sit in a lazy boy chair and you work on puzzles or sit at the computer or work over a body in surgery, that sort of thing. So your head is tilted forward. It can also happen when your brain is so full of thinking that it needs extra support. What happens is the head starts to move forward and it hangs from the body instead of being balanced perfectly on top of it. And this has a very comprehensive effect on the rest of the body. It affects everything that you do. So having the head held properly is important for balance and agility and power and awareness. It's quite key, shall we say. So, how do you avoid Sudoku neck, and what is it? It is actually related to another problem that we have in Tai Chi with tension in the back and the rib cage, and this brings up another important principle of Tai Chi, which is often said to be sinking the chest and raising the back. We'll deal with the head and neck first, and then we'll talk about the chest and the back. But I want to first thank everyone who has been supporting my work and my website over the last year or so. As we get things off the ground and as I struggle to be able to work at this full time, your donations have really helped me to stay alive and keep this thing going. So if you haven't already visited the website, sinclairinternal.arts.com, or subscribed to the YouTube channel, you can make a one-time donation at the website or subscribe and make a regular monthly donation. Any little bit helps. Thank you. So the head suspended from above, as we call it. If you, to diagnose the problem, what I sometimes do is have people do what I call the Muskoka chair test. It's like an Adirondack chair. It's a chair with a straight back. Any chair with a straight back and a slight incline, where you sit in the chair and put your head back. And if you have Sudoku neck, then when you put your head back, the only way your head will touch the chair is by doing this. So you end up tilting the head. Let's change the angle here so you can see better. So there we go. So if I have my back straight against the wall, then notice my head is in front. It's in front of the body. The head should be on top of the body, not in front of it, and not hanging from it. So when people are used to doing this, if the misalignment is an acute problem, then it's a very simple matter for people to straighten it up. If the misalignment is a chronic problem, then it's very difficult because the body will have adapted to the shape, your musculature will have adapted, and you will have permanently changed the shape of your body by holding it like this the whole time. You know the expression, keep making that face and it'll stick that way. Well, if you keep holding this posture, it will stick that way. So stand up straight means allowing the spine to straighten up so that the head can touch this. So if you are in a straight back chair or lying on the floor, you should be able to sleep comfortably like this. And most people who are young, so 7-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 15-year-olds, before they start gaming full time, can usually just fall asleep in a straight-backed chair. But as we get older and our posture changes and we develop this tension, then what happens is our head doesn't reach the chair anymore, and we need a pillow behind us just to be able to sleep in a straight chair. So, how do we fix the chronic problem? Well, the musculature in the head and neck are the problem. but so is the ribs. And the muscles in the ribs are holding a lot of tension that inhibits our breathing, inhibits our movement, and so we have to become aware of the tension in our rib cage. So there's a simple exercise I like to do to see how difficult the problem is for you. If the problem is not too bad, then you can just do this a few times and pull down, then drop your hands, maybe go up the sides, touch the wall, then bring your elbows down like that. And do this a few times, pull up, pull down, there. And with a few repetitions, your head may find itself resting gently against the wall. But if your shoulders don't do that, if your misalignment is chronic, and you have what we sometimes call a 50s shoulder, so over the age of 50 it's difficult to get your arms straight above your head, or if you're doing a lot of, say, bodybuilding and you don't do the proper stretching exercises, then you can't lift your hands straight up. Some people can only get their arms to about here, and that's not good. You should be able to move your arms ideally. So this exercise, straighten the back against the wall, try to touch your head to the wall, and if it takes effort to do it, then you need to change the alignment in the rib cage. This is where we get to the second idea called sink the chest and raise the back. I remember reading this in a Tai Chi manual 40 years ago and thinking, what does that mean? Sink the chest and raise the back. So I would do this and raise the back. So I'd drop the chest down and that would tilt the back. Now the back was higher than the chest. And then I would look at the old Tai Chi masters and they all walked like this. So I figured, oh, this is the Tai Chi walk. No, they walked that way because they were old. So to do this, standing upright, yeah, my teacher once said to me years ago, he said, you move like an old master. And I was flattered. And then he said, but you still very young. You know, I was 20 or 30, somewhere around there. And compliment. So I was moving like an old master because I'd had 8 or 9 teachers by that time, and as I'd moved around the country, and most of them were old masters, and they moved like old people. So because they were 80, 90 years old, some of them. So the correct posture should be relaxed and upright, not tense. So when you hold tension in your ribs, then the back goes up, and if you do a lot of bench presses and not enough pull-ups or not enough rowing, then your musculature gets out of whack. And you end up like this guy. Okay. So to sink the chest and raise the back. Okay, sink the chest, it's a translation from the Chinese, and the original word was sung, which sort of means loose. If you go to see an acupuncturist, they'll say fang song, which means loose and relaxed. And, well, that's what it's supposed to mean. To me, after going to a number of acupuncturists, whenever anyone said fang song, I interpreted that to mean this needle is really going to hurt. They were telling me to relax. Relax. Don't be tense. This one's a tricky one. So I would tense up whenever they said fang song. Oh no, this is going to be a painful one. So sink the chest, raise the back means straighten the thoracic spine. And to do that, you need to relax the rib cage, let the ribs drop down. Song is also a word that's used in cooking that is sort of like al dente. When you're cooking noodles, that point where you can throw the noodle at the ceiling and it sticks to the ceiling, that is song. So, that's song. So that's song. Song is a looseness, the consistency of properly cooked rice. So when you want to relax, it has to be loose, and you want your rib cage not to be a big block, but to be a loose, fluid thing. And a lot of people, we breathe in, and then we don't breathe out, and we hold this stale air in our chest all day, especially if we're sitting at a desk. So that's one of the reasons why we need to get up and move every once in a while, exercise, get the air moving in the lungs, and so on. Now, it's even more important these days. So, to straighten the back against the wall, this is not a perfect alignment for the back. We'll get to that later. But work with just the thoracic spine, so the upper 12 ribs, and the cervical spine, the neck. Sink the chest, let it relax, let it drop down. When that happens, your waist will relax, the belly relaxes, the base of the pelvis relaxes, the weight drops into your thighs. So when you relax the ribs, everything drops, the resonance in your chest changes, and your voice gets a little deeper, and then you get really comfortable, and you go, oh yeah, why was I holding all of that tension there? I should breathe with my diaphragm, not my intercostal muscles. Now, you may not think that. I do sometimes. So then, as the spine straightens up and the ribs relax, the chest, the front of the chest, and the rib cage hang from the spine like a shirt hanging from a hook, and then the head rests against the wall. Now, my shoulders are a little bit out of balance right now from all the specific work that I've been doing over the last couple of months. So I need to do some more exercises to balance out the musculature and stretch a little bit and to get the shoulders into alignment so that when I lift things I don't hurt myself. So there are shoulder exercises that you can do to help with the alignment of the back and the neck as well. So I won't get into those right now. That's a completely different video. But this sort of thing, and down. Doing the Tai Chi form is good. Certain Qigong patterns are good. So pushing up, pushing down to the sides, move around, hug a tree, push back behind you. We have a lot of these sorts of things. And reaching up, striking the microphone. So reaching up and going out, pushing, bending the elbows, folding in, folding out. There's the Hello Kitty exercise. That to loosen up the shoulders. If these things are causing pain when you do them, then you might want to see a good physiotherapist. Check your sports medicine doctor, whoever you have on call these days. And I like to do this exercise. That helps to loosen up the shoulder. And the other way. So. Like that. So, loosening up the shoulder and get that musculature to work right. People are sinking the chest and raising the back, and they're getting themselves out of alignment. They're stuck in this mode, like your opponent's always going to be in front of you. Your opponent could be anywhere, so you want to be balanced in all directions. That's why the head's up, shoulders down. Okay. Fights don't always start in a ring with a referee saying go. Fights often start with the person behind you or with the person's hands at the sides. So you want to be ready in all directions all the time. So chin in, head up, relax the neck. When the neck is in the proper alignment, you can turn your head, tilt it. It'll do things. With Sudoku neck, the head doesn't move very much, and it creates problems and tension and headaches and migraines. I used to get migraines a lot, and then I found out that by correcting my posture, it didn't happen so much, and if I did feel one coming along, I would do this stretch, up, pull down, grab the back of my head, do a little isometric tension to pull my head back against my hands, then twist, and pose like Charles Atlas. There. And there would be a little click or little adjustment in my back and in my neck, and right from T6 right up to my head, the little adjustments would happen, and then my migraine would go away instantly, which was really handy. No drugs, no days off, got to keep going. So, there. So, just standing like this, and practice resting on a flat chair. And when you notice that things are out of alignment, think, oh, maybe my shoulder blades could come back. I can stretch out my chest. There. And there are lots of really specific exercises depending on who you are and what your situation is. We sometimes talk about contraindicated exercises, or we used to back in the 90s. These are exercises that were sort of blanket taboos within exercise classes, where we'd say, don't teach this exercise, it's contraindicated. To which the real professionals would say, contraindicated for what, or for whom? There's really no such thing as a contraindicated exercise. They're just exercises that are inappropriate for some people at some times, which is why I always try to remind people, I am not your physician. If the thing hurts or it doesn't feel right, then check with a professional. I hope you live in a place where health care is available. If not, well, do the best you can. So everybody reach up if you can, pull down behind you, pull your head back, like that, and then leave the head there. Relax your shoulders, let the hands hang at the sides. They should touch the seams of your trouser legs, not be stuck in front like this. They should be at the sides. And the shoulders sink down. So you sink the shoulders and drop the elbows. We'll get into that later. But sinking the shoulders and dropping the elbows means sinking them in the proper alignment. When you first straighten out your thoracic spine, you'll feel like you're lifting up your rib cage. That's because you need to relax your rib cage and let it sink down. If at first you try to sink the chest, you'll feel the back going up and arching. That's because your rib cage is tense. You need to relax the ribs and let the spine straighten up and the head goes into alignment. Yeah. And then you'll find yourself able to move and remain balanced more easily. With the head forward, all of your movements will be a little clunky. You won't have the power or the agility at all. So, head up, chin down, sink the chest, extend and straighten the back, and feel free to stretch and do things with your shoulders. We talk about the ideal alignment for the arms, but the ideal is that the arms can move in all sorts of ranges. Sure, this is not the perfect Tai Chi posture for certain types of power, but that's not all Tai Chi does. So feel free to take some time. If you can, find 15 minutes a day and just yawn. Not like the queen. No, not like you're visiting royalty and going, him. Not like that. Yawn like a 3-year-old. Feel the stretch. Feel the blood and lymph move. Feel the fascia release those knots. And then later we can go through all of the choreographed yawning, the choreographed patterns and Qigong exercises and Neigong exercises and sort of Taoist yoga and the martial arts exercises that help to move and understand the different functional ranges of the body. But it starts with the center line and having the central balance. That means head, chest. Later we'll get to the waist and the hips and the legs and the feet and the knees and then all of the different ways that those connect. Very good. More practice. And remember, visit SinclairInternalArts.com. You might like it there.